Oh shit.
Okay.
I guess I wasn't recording, so just a quick intro. Um, fuck. This is the problem with freaking being getting old. Okay, so Spanish Bull from Twitter online and on the phone is with me is D-Man. D-Man is an amazing trader. Has been trading for plus 20 years. Amazing heart. Hell of a big cap trader, small cap squeezes us, but I've learned a lot from him. So it's a blessing to have D-Man on the phone and a three-way conversation. So that's the intro, bro, Jose. And so I'm gonna ask you, how long have you been trading for? What is your niche? That's it.
Afghan?
Yes.
Okay, so I've been trading for 1 year and 3 months.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm still down because in the first months, instead of doing, first of all, a few months of paper trading,
Mm,
I jumped straight to trading with a real account.
mm,
So, yes, I blew up like three accounts in a very short period of time. It was just like I think the first 6 months, and then after that I start to calm down and relax because when I started I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I was like doing all the mistakes newbies tend to do, like buy the breakouts, buying the tops and selling the bottoms. I was making all the mistakes,
mm,
and after that I started to track some data
mm-hmm,
and to realize what were the trades where I used to make money,
mm-hmm.
and I started to find my edge. Especially, I'm a long trader
Oh,
mainly,
good.
but I like only to jump in when I see that small cap um, they release a very good news, and
Very good news.
catch, yes, like
Okay.
good news, and jump straight to the trade and sell like quickly after that, after you buy.
Okay. And what is your number one, the top three struggles that you have consistently that is just you
Okay,
keep doing this again and you get pissed off?
the first one is over trading. I
Okay.
don't really know how to deal with it because there are days that I'm up, I don't know, maybe like whatever, and I keep trading instead of just leaving my computer and going for a walk. And at the end of the day, I end up red. So it's hard to say, for me, very hard to say, okay, it's done for today, let's go away, you know?
So the other question.
Why is that hard?
Sorry, Diman,
Why is that hard for you to do?
I don't
Or
know,
like,
it's,
what have you
okay.
done to try to achieve that goal? So you have a goal of walking away at a certain point. So what makes it hard?
Because I feel like, okay, I've already made this money, I think I can still make some more, and that makes me feel attached to the computer.
So you feel like you're up. Do you want to just kind of push it and you're on a good streak, or do you feel
I feel like, okay, I've done this trade, went well, maybe I can short the backside or whatever and bank some more money. And when I'm up, I feel like, okay, I'm already up, so it doesn't matter if I lose a bit of money.
okay? So that's what I was trying to get to. That's that mind frame right there is what you got to get out of.
Mm-hmm.
Trading when you're up, whatever it is. Let's just say you're up $1,000.
Yeah,
Thinking, well, I'm up $1,000, I can lose 100 and still be fine.
yes,
Set a trigger in your mind to get rid of that thought process because you're trading the P&L, you're trading uh, money that you already have and saying, I've already
mm-hmm.
lost it. So if you think you can lose it, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to take more aggressive trades. You're going to take trades that you're not normally taking. You're going to be
Yes,
more risky. You're going to put on trades that you shouldn't put on. And so what it comes down to is that they're emotional decisions that you're making. And when you're making emotional decisions as a trader, you have to step away.
yes,
I agree with Damon 100%. It's P&L. And I'm gonna make another assumption here and tell me if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
So as
Yep.
soon as me and D-Man we both heard it, I saw him speak and I didn't say anything, and we both hit the dead on spot. So you have to take this very carefully. When you are trading based on P&L, and my assumption is that this trading is your main source of income or the money, it's important to you for whatever reason, either what this is paying off your bills or this has an important meaning. Is this correct? Does this P&L, does trading pay off part of your bills or anything along
Yeah.
those lines?
Not at all. I don't have that much pressure because um, I'm 24 years old. I finished university like 1 year ago,
Mm.
and I was working here in Madrid for a company, and it was not my main income source. But
So so you gotta
but
ask yourself why are you trading using your P&L? So sometimes knowing for me is not enough. I have to dig in. Why the heck are you going? Uh, why are you using your P&L to go? Because that's the main problem here. That's the number one problem.
yes.
You should never be like, I'm up too much, I'm down too much. It's always about trading behavior setup. So shift has to change. So I'll give you one solution that you should do. I've been trading for a long time, 12 years, and D-Man knows I hide my P&L every day. Yeah, I have some rough idea, but I don't look at it. I don't look at it. I never, you should never ever take how much you're up, how much you're down based off of that. And if you have a plan to walk away, I was gonna ask you, are you a scalper? Do you know how long you hold your position?
No, not scalping. Maybe like 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. It depends on the day.
Okay.
I don't like to swing,
Mm,
but it's only day trading, but not scalping, not that fast.
okay. So what I personally do, I call it the lull period. Your timing may be different, but from
Mm-hmm.
9:30 till 10:30, 11, that's when I kind of take a position, and 11 to 12, 1 is when I take a bit of a break. So I walk away. So my walking away from the desk and me coming back in
Uh-huh.
never has to do with P&L, and same with D-Man.
Okay. Another question I have, guys,
Yes.
is that okay? Maybe you can help me with this. Sometimes I almost always check the fundamentals before entering a position, and I mean fundamentals relying to offerings and all this stuff, not the net working capital of the company and the ratios. And many times I feel like, okay, this company has an ATM. I'm sure they are pumping up the price and it will go down. And the vision I have sometimes is wrong, you know? Like, okay, I think, okay, it's going to go up and then I'm sure they will start diluting, but at the end it ends up like going higher. And I don't really know how to deal with these crappy companies in these situations. I don't really know what they are going or not going to do.
So let me tell you something.
Uh-huh.
Nobody does.
Yep. 100%.
No, nobody knows what they're going to do.
100%.
Man, you're dealing with a market that has millions and millions of parts to it. Nobody knows what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So there's only one way to play it, and that's why the price action, right? I mean, you have thesis and you set your play off of a thesis, but if you're proven wrong, then you can swap your thesis and play the price action. That's one thing that Masood does extremely well. He'll try shorting. He'll say that uh, ATM, overhead supply, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna short, and when they keep pushing, he switches. He says, "I was wrong." Um, and so, don't ever think that you have to know what's going to happen. You have to set your plan out and obey your plan, right? So, stick with your whatever your risk management is, whatever however you do it. But I see a lot of traders trying to figure out what's going to happen. Even the
Mm-hmm.
people manipulating the stock don't know what's going to happen. They have an idea and what they're going to do, and they're going to try to do that, but you never know.
I agree with D-Man 1,000%. But and I'm learning stuff here, so thank you, D-Man, for coming on voice because I still love to learn. One thing that I was going to add, so to extend your part of your plan, first off, before I want to give a disclaimer. So I'm more of a fundamental. If you follow me on Twitter, I think you do.
Yes.
I am a fundamental short seller. But the problem here is that even if I develop a thesis, I don't give a crap about my thesis. Like it's a 30% variable. At the end of the day, the volume and price action. Volume more than price action, like volume is king. That tells me. So sometimes when I'm wrong, so there's so okay, first you're trying to understand the fundamental aspects, okay? There's nothing wrong with it. You try to understand it, you try to develop a thesis. But even if you have conviction, even if you're the world's number one top world's number one freaking short seller because you have the fundamental understanding. I know so many short sellers that have gone bankrupt. So many. Even if you understand that, you still have to know that that is not the point. It just gives you a little bit of information, just gives you a direction. Your risk management is king. Risk management is 1,000% your king. And the second thing is you develop your thesis. Like Demon said, you if you're long, uh, you could go down. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to give you some tips that will maybe help you extend your your how can extend your variables, right? So I hope you have multiple tools. So you asked me, you find things at the filings. You're a long player, so and you're like, this is gonna get pumped higher.
I'm both sides. I like to go long because I've done very, very good trades, mainly with, displays related with reverse splits when they release the news and they pump up the price. And I've been tricking the data, and these runs are huge.
Yes, I play those as well for fundamental reasons. So let me give you some tips on how to extend your long plays, how to make them better. One of them is relative volume. If your relative volume is really high and in comparison, so it's about there's two sides of the equation. There's a balancement act, that girl that has like blindfold and like justice thing. In one side you have your demand, which is your relative volume. You can get into end of the day projection volume, which is another day's story. The other side you have your overhead supply. So for ATM you mentioned that they have to pump it higher. Not necessarily. ATM they can just dump at the market. But for things like if there's a lot of warrants at a higher level, sometimes it could get to there or higher. Or if it's above warrant level and the warrants are fresh and it's a really high volume, then they're gonna dump. So the key to add to your variable arsenal is relative volume, how much float rotation. Like you have an idea, like okay, is it under float rotation? And then try to guesstimate, or try to see, well, how much is the overhead at this level? Some company could have 800,000 shares of warrants. But if that company that day, it's like 11 a.m., and if that company has done 15 million or 18 million shares like by 11, the overhead is 800K, then well, that doesn't really matter. Like that negates it. And the price action is king. The price action tells you it's making a higher high, lower, higher low, higher high, and then it's like above VWAP and all that. So does that help how you can be more
Yes.
selective?
Yeah, it does.
So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
When you see that your thesis is wrong or you're not getting the results that you wanted,
Mm-hmm.
are you able to stop out where you wanted to stop
Yes.
out?
Yes, but I'm stopped out with a loss.
Okay, good. Because that's key. I mean, learning how to lose money is one of the
Yes.
greatest skills you can learn as a trader.
1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%.
Diman, I would like you to ask another question. Um, have you ever been trading for yourself, or have you worked for a trading firm? Are you a retail trader, or?
No, I've always traded for myself and my own money.
Okay.
My background is I'm an entrepreneur, and
Mhm.
I've never really liked working for other people. I like to do
Mhm.
my own thing, so I reap all the benefits and I reap all the consequences as well.
Mhm.
So, uh, or maybe I just don't like being bossed around.
Okay, and was it very difficult when you started? I mean, like, did it take you very long time en- to end up being profitable, or was it quicker?
Yes, so it's a little bit different for me because of the age at which I came in. Um, Free trading
Yes.
is a gift and a curse all at once. You know how you said you overtrade?
Mhm.
Well, just imagine if you had to spend 40 bucks to get in and out of a trade.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Wouldn't that make you a little bit more hesitant to get in a trade? You'd make sure
Yes.
your plan was more accurate. You take higher probability setups. So it was a gift and a curse. I learned how to swing trade before I learned how to do anything else, um, because I didn't want to pay 40 bucks to get in and out of a trade in a day.
Mhm.
So it was rough. I lost a lot of money. I actually had an error where the company that I was trading with deposited $45,000 into my account
Oh,
that wasn't mine.
Oh my
I
God.
always
I mean,
daydream about that mistake, bro. Holy shit. Put an
I mean,
extra
at the
zero.
time I had like $30,000, and I wake up and my account's like more than doubled, and I'm like, what happened? What happened? So,
Uh,
you know, I actually called and told them, but they never took it out ever. So I had free money.
wow.
Yeah,
That's how you become successful in trading.
that's right. You get scared, and it accidentally give you money. So,
Man, I've always joked around with that with the banks. They fucking banks every time. They always take money on accident. Always. I'm like, when the fuck am I gonna come a day when you guys accidentally put money in? Every time. Like, I have to look at my
yeah,
bank.
that's what I was thinking is whose money is this for real? You know what I
I
mean?
swear to God,
Is
it's
it
probably
someone
mine.
else's money?
It's just mine. Because every time, like, sometimes, every few months I go, I have a lot, alhamdulillah, I have a lot of banks too, different accounts. Sometimes I go through it, the guys randomly charge me $150, $200. I'm like, what for? And they're like, oh, sorry, it was our mistake. I'm like, oh my fucking God, one day please put it on accident. Anyway, so that's a cool story. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it. But D-Man is a very humble man, if I may. I don't know if he's okay with me saying it. D-Man's a very, very successful business entrepreneur and a very, very big trader. So, but I think one thing that I've learned from D-Man and one thing that I'm learning as well is the more you kind of don't care about the P&L, the more you don't care about the financial outcome, the better you do. It's always about performance, man. It's like if you're consistently increasing your performance and you're taking the best trading setups, and I'm surprised if you are able to stop out really well, that's good for you. But you have to really know that you're doing that. I don't know if do you track on TraderView?
Yes, 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 yes. I do trade
So
with it. Yes.
so you haven't did you go through a phase where you make money, make money, make money, and then one time lose money? Like lose big money?
Last summer in June, I was like May and June were two very very good months. I was up a lot of money, and I remember one day in July shorting XSPA.
Yeah, I remember that name, yeah.
I went crazy. I was sure they were going to throw an offering, so I was like all the time shorting, and I ended up like losing all the money I made in the previous 2 months. Wow! And that day I was like feeling so bad, so sad. It was horrible.
But that was because of a stop, because you didn't obey your stop.
Yes, no, no, no. I placed a stop, but I entered like 10 times.
Oh, okay. So it was multiple paper cuts. Okay. Good for you, man. Good for you. You don't have that problem. Okay. Do you have anything else that you're like struggling with? Ideally, if you do you track on TraderView?
Yes, I do. I
Okay.
don't remember when was the last time I did, but yeah, I've done it like 2 times.
In my
I
opinion, you
think
should do that. The best way to do is the best thing to learn is about ourselves, where we do good, where we do wrong, what our personality is, how long we hold, what time we hold. So,
Let me ask you a question, man. So, did you ever play a sport? Basketball,
yes,
football?
football, and I used to skateboard when I was like 15, 16.
So, what position did you play in football?
Goalkeeper.
Okay, football. See, I'm an American. I call we call that soccer.
Yeah.
I was thinking football. Okay, so in soccer, so did you ever feel like certain days you were just on it? You just felt like nobody's going to score on me. I see what's coming. You know, you just felt
Yes.
really good.
Yeah, you feel like you can control the situation. Yes.
Exactly. You're just in the zone. So I played basketball, you know, and I some days I feel like I could put up 60, 70 points on a team and just drill them into the ground. And you know what I did on those days? I pushed it. I pushed it. And I know I wasn't going to feel like that all the time. And the reason I'm telling you this is because if you're trading a P&L, if you've got
Hmm.
max days that you're going to cut out if you make a certain amount, that's fine. Everybody has their own rules. But what I would challenge you to do is to feel look for those days where you feel like in trading you felt like you did as a goalie, where you can see things coming. Because if you look at in March,
Hmm.
you see how much money was made in March.
Oh my God, is that your account?
I claim the fifth on that. But suffice it to say, not one person needs to make that much money. But when you feel it, you go for it. You push it,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
I don't give a f what I'm up. I just feel like I can do whatever I need to do. I can make good trades, and I push it and I push it. But then there's days when you're a goalie too, and you just man, I just want the game to be over with. I just
Hmm.
you're not feeling it as much, and that's when you pull back, cut size down when you aren't feeling it. And so it's just like the sport, man. So if you feel like you're making good decisions, you feel like you're making the plays you need to make
Hmm.
in trading, push it. Put on a little bit bigger size.
Yes.
Uh, be a little bit more aggressive. Dig a little bit deeper. Stay up a little bit later. Whatever you got to do to push the issue.
Hmm.
Because in my time of trading, I'll make 90% of the money that I'll make in a year
Hmm.
within 2 to 3 months. And those are the months that I push it.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Mm, is there a moment where you feel like, I don't know, maybe after so many years trading, you can feel like, okay, this does it get boring or
Never. Never.
never?
So what I'll tell you though is your situation where you have income, that's the best. You're in the best situation, man.
Hmm.
You're in the situation where you can be successful because people that try to do this and live off of the money
Hmm.
that they're making and they haven't proven that they can be successful beforehand, it puts so much pressure on them.
Hmm.
I'm in the same boat as you. I could lose all the money that I have with trading and still be fine because I have businesses.
Hmm.
And so for me, I'm a video game player, right? So
Hmm.
I grew up playing Nintendo, right? So when video games were new,
64 or Atari?
and well, no, I started with the Atari,
Oh,
Pac-Man. When the
oh
Nintendo,
yeah.
I got the Nintendo for my 10th birthday. Man, I was so stoked.
See,
Um, but
sorry.
anyway, so that's all you're doing, man. This is a video game. We're freaking pressing buttons, right? That's all
Yes.
we're doing. We're just pressing buttons, and we're making money doing it. And I take some of this money and I give it to the people that actually need it. I donate it to people, and that's what makes it fun. So no, it never gets boring.
Like I said, D-Man is one of the kindest, biggest, hardest person I know. And trust me, that March is nothing compared to his other months. And
Oh,
and
no,
and
it's
and that's why I said you're very lucky. I'm lucky to have D-Man on voice and to join me because I know he has a very kind heart. and I didn't even think that he would join because I didn't even ask him. I just asked like a bunch of random guys. So
Thank you for the advice, Iman. And I think this is my one of my last questions.
okay.
I okay, I track that data, but I don't really know if I'm doing well because each company is a world, and I don't know how to filter them, like by sectors, by market share, market size, sorry, or you know.
Ask your question again.
Mm, I'm tracking some data, but I don't really know if this data is so reliable because I tend to filter the companies by market size, price, sector, but I don't know if my stats are working well. I don't
So
know if
is
you
your
are noticing
question, you
that.
don't know how to organize your stats based off of the company information?
Yes, somehow yes.
Does that make sense to you, Masood?
Yeah, but I'm not much of a stat tracker. I heard price and I heard market cap. I know price shouldn't really be that much of an indicator. Market cap should have a bigger, but
So
yeah, you know better than
I'll tell
tracking.
you, man, the only way to know
Hmm.
if your data is reliable is to back test it. Um, I use a website called Market Chameleon that has
Hmm.
tons of data, um, and everybody uses that data in different ways to apply it to whatever they're trying to do. So I don't think we can answer that question for you because we don't know exactly
Yeah.
the information you're trying to get out.
Okay, I'm gonna
Does
see.
that make sense?
Yes,
But what I
yes,
would
yes.
do is, you have to break them out accordingly. Like, is it a nano float? Is it a big cap?
Hmm.
And apply your strategy across all platforms to see which one it'll work in. I don't know if that answers your question or not, but
What was the name of the page you said?
here I'll put it in. It's Market Chameleon. I think it's like $100.
It's more for bigger caps. I think it's for
Yeah,
bigger
it's
cap.
it's it's for bigger. You can use it to get small caps too. Like, it'll have certain information on the smaller caps, but the number one place is always the filings to go. But let's see. Oh, you put a picture in here. Let's see.
Yes,
So he just tracking.
this is my data. It's all related with the reverse split plays.
Okay.
So you should hook them up with Able on this stuff, man, because this is what Able does.
No,
Hmm.
I could do it because I did a lot of small cap reversal. Okay, bro. I'm gonna tell you something that's like very very important, especially that if you've been trading for a year and a half. I
Hmm.
know you're trying to focus. So you've seen some success. Have you, be genuinely honest, have you seen a few months where you've been successful and like consistent for 2, 3 months?
Yes,
Okay.
recently I've seen a lot of improve in
Okay.
my trading.
Okay.
Yes, I have
So
improved a lot,
so the
but I
object
still need to improve more.
okay. So what you need to do, bro, is in the 12 years, the one thing that I've learned, and please take this very seriously, as opposed to going out and trying to pick new things and trying to find that I'm gonna find this news play. News play was at this time, and it bounced up this high and it went this low. A way better thing to do, bro, is have statistics on for you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You're trying to go out there and trying to find more ways to make more money, or trying to find the golden avenue. What you should really really focus on. If I ask you and instantly be like, what is your top two plays? You should be able to instantly tell me in as much detail as possible. And the two ways to make money: trade less, focus on the plays that you make. But I'm happy to answer any question you have about. So I'm gonna ask you that question, okay? So you have to think about it very clearly. What are the two
Okay.
plays that you make money on, two plays you lose money on? But I'll help you with the pre-market stuff. So
Okay.
how we play, bro, the pre-market stuff, it's not based on variables. So sometimes you've seen, I try to post my losses as well, but sometimes I've made 400%, 500% on pre-market, pre-split plays that you're looking to find, right?
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen that. And why do I pick that? It has, for me, it has nothing to do with statistics. It has to do with the fundamental aspect. So the fundamental aspect, what I mean by that is a company. So from my point of view, everything that happens in small cap happens with intention. It's not
Yes.
based on coincidence. So from a fundamental point of view, there's you have to really understand a whole lot about fundamentals, but putting it in a nutshell, the company does a reverse split because they have to be above $1, and if they're going to do an offering, they
Yes.
has to get squeezed higher and things like that.
Yes.
So if they go
Yes.
below, so there's a lot of different rules. So it does a reverse split, and the key variable there, bro, is that they have to have a lot of the times they have to be below, um, like their cash has to be low in comparison to the burn rate. So it's not just a dollar amount.
Yes.
You look at how much they're burning per month, and you look at how much cash they have left, and then you try to determine is it a few weeks, a few months, how much is left, and then you also have to look through the filings. Do they have like a line of credit, or do they have some sort of a deal, or if they have cash in the bank, is it restricted? And the other variable that you have to check, bro, is if they have an S3 or an S1. S1 does not need to be pumped.
Perfect. That's my question, because many times when small caps, when there is a running, almost all of them have an S1 or S3.
Do you know the difference between them? Because I was going to tell you a key important thing. An S3, an S3
Yes.
gets requires to get pumped. An S1 doesn't need to get pumped. So, and then what we do is we have another play post offering. But S3, low cash issues, and making sure that they have enough authorized shares or things like that to go higher, that's when we go long. But there are times that they do an offering, smaller chance if it's an S3, that they, well, no, with
They
S,
will.
yeah, well,
Yes.
no, actually with S3 they just get pumped. So that's how we determine our plays. And then, sorry, your question was, they always have an S1, S3?
Yes, like, because obviously they can raise one third of the market cap, so if they get a higher closing price, they will be able to raise more money.
On
But
S3,
this, yeah, honest, yes, yes, yes.
not on S1.
But this doesn't happen always. Like,
What happens?
I mean, for example, there was a case in November with APDN
Hmm.
that they I think it started around $4 and ended up nearly 20, and they had an S1.
But what makes you think so? If they had a, I remember APDN. I believe it had overhead
Yes.
supply. So you have to understand. Do you remember that it had an overhead supply?
I don't remember properly.
Okay. So what's the purpose of offering, bro?
Okay, raise more money.
Yes. So what happens if they offer if they dump the overhead supply? What happens to the company if the warrants get exercised?
That they are getting the money.
What happens if the ATM gets dumped
That they are diluting more and more shares, so there is more supply.
and the company gets the money, right?
Yeah.
So your question is it went from a certain dollar to a higher dollar and they didn't do an offering. Why didn't it happen? First off, like D-Man says, nobody knows. The second thing,
Yeah.
from a fundamental aspect, bro, is if the overhead is being dumped, then the company is getting cash. So out an offering doesn't need to happen.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
So I want to go back to one of the questions Masood asked you.
Uh-huh.
Do you have a top one or two plays or
Yes. To be honest, my best play and the one at my ace setup is the reverse split, like going long, because I know that these runs are huge, and you can see in the picture I sent you. I don't have here the average, but I think like the average they run, if you start counting when they drop the news until the top, is like a 200%. So I'm sure that I've got all these companies in a watch list, and when they release the news, you have to be quickly and jump into the trade and go long, and be able to be patient, because if they run a lot.
So do you
with
have
with
specific entry points when you
Yes.
get in and all that?
yes, because
Do you have specific?
you are never able to buy like in the bottom. So I almost always try to wait for the first pullback.
I got you. First higher high. So what's your second?
And my second is shorting. Shorting when I see that the company has dilution, like an ATM, or when it's like very overextended. Like I try to short in the afternoon around 1 or 2 in the evening, because I think that's the time when they tend to go down.
That's not detailed enough,
And I
bro. Give us more details
think
on the second one.
give you more detail.
Yeah.
Small cap with dilution, mm, maybe with an S3 or S1 amended a few times in the last recent weeks, and I'm sure they are going to drop an offering, so I will try to short in the evening and wait for the offering.
Okay. You want me to be blunt with you?
Sorry, Afghan?
You want me to be blunt with you? Honest?
Yes, please be honest.
That I'm willing to bet you anything that if you were to track your statistics, afternoon, and you have has an S3, when you combine all these variables, there's it's not significant enough, and even the detail was not enough. 1 to 2 hour. That's it's
Okay, but there are a few more variables, obviously. Like I check the volume, I check the price action, I try to read the level 2 and the times on sale to see if there are weird movements.
okay. So what in I'll give you what I do in afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
If it if a small cap goes and breaks high of the day, it has high relative volume. I am seeing large amount of float rotations. It breaks the high of the day, and then it stuffs. That exactly is my entry point. My risk is above that. The more detailed you are, the more concrete you are, the higher your plays is. Originally, as I suspected, I'm sorry, but you have to try not to find new golden stuff, bro. You have to go back and you have to find what you're good at and be very detailed and variable. When exactly are you going to enter? When are you going to exit? What's your risk? So for the second one, midday, I don't know. I didn't see a good correlation. I didn't see enough variables. I didn't see you say my entry is here, my exit is here. And even on the smaller cap, when you're starting up, I see you have tracked the news. So when the news comes up, what if there's no pullback? Sometimes me and my friend we long these plays before of the news comes. This is why we get 400-500%. But that's a different thing. It doesn't matter. Don't follow what we're doing. But the point is, in 12 years of trading, we have our exact entry. We have our exact risk. You don't have that. Please. You're here to take advice from us. So
Yes.
number one advice is stop trying to go and look for other golden goose. If you were successful for 3-4 months, this weekend today, go back, put your information on TraderView, and every single trade make notes where you what you did good, what you did bad, where you entered, where you risk. Minimize the bad trades, maximize the good trades. That's the number one thing you need to do. If and when you do that, you will see hell of a difference. Your confidence will increase. Your trading will get better. It, it you will become a better trader by doing that. Because if you are successful and you're not that detailed, I can only imagine you being a lot more successful. Your plays will become a lot more better.
Masuda's saying here is that you I don't want you to feel like we're jumping on you because you can't explain all your plays and all the details that we want because you haven't been trading as long as we have. But what I will tell you is that what he is saying is absolutely correct. I The way that I did it as I grew
Mhm.
was once I proved a play plan, whatever you want to call it. Some people call them profit buckets. If you've been successful and you've proven that you can be successful with that play,
Mhm.
you know, hammer that play home, get good at it, get real good at it, and slowly add one other play to the mix at one time until you've proven that strategy. And after 5, 10 years, you'll have quite a bit of plays because the market is always
Mhm.
changing. And there's a book called Who Moved My Cheese? And it talks about how basically a rat's conditioned to go to a certain spot to get his cheese, and when you move the cheese, he dies.
Mhm.
Well, the market's always moving the cheese, so you need a lot of plays. But I think what Masuda's saying is whatever your play, whatever you prove, or prove at least one, and have it very detailed. And then two, have it very detailed before you start moving on to other things. And when we say have it very detailed, it's exactly what he said. One of my favorite charts too is stuff at the high of day. You see the tape, they're just dumping into this high of day break,
Yes.
you know. So it's just very, very, very detailed. Um, you try to make it, I call it idiot proof, right? So
Yep.
basically, you could hand it to somebody and say, "Hey, this is how you would play it," and any idiot could follow it.
Mhm.
And that's just because um, that and I know there's nothing. Hopefully, don't take any offense to what we say, but I know it's
No,
because you're quote unquote you're trying to. I don't want to say you're. How do I say it in a nice way? Like I know you're trying to be consistently profitable, so you're having issues. When you're having issues, it's really good to simmer down, and when you become profitable, DMAN is 1,000% right. You expand out. But if you feel like if you're unsure about your trading and you're questioning yourself and things like that, that's the time to double down on what you know and to
Mhm.
really get better at that. Many traders I know that only trade just a few setups and they're just amazing at that and then they're very profitable. And as time progresses and the market changes, you have to have like you can add on to other things. But first off, you have to be successful. You have to feel successful. You have to have consistent income. You have to have consistency. You have to have confidence, and that only comes from really trying to 100% know what you're good at. Because look, even if I were to give you all of the plays that I make, it may be because of my fundamental, because of my shopper. I have friends. Maya is a scalper. There's no fucking way I could do what he does. No way. But the point is, like, it matches our personality. So, from my point of view, if you're something is working for you, and you're at an unsure space, you'll feel a lot better as a trader by duper focusing on that. So yeah.
one of the things that that does and the reason that works, you have to think about everything from a psychological standpoint.
Mhm.
Everybody has the ability to enter and exit trades at all times. So why does some win and some lose? And it's all between the ears. Everything is between the ears. And so if you can convince yourself that you do know what you're doing, you can be more convicted in your decisions of what you're making. So if it goes against you, you can understand that this is normal. And it's just all a psychological battle. I have a friend. He's been my
Mhm.
one of my best friends since probably seventh, eighth grade. The guy's a nuclear engineer. He he's been an AMD fanboy since I don't even remember. You know how much money he makes every week? All he does is trade AMD. He makes about 8 grand every week just trading AMD, and the only thing he does is sell options on them. He has about 20,000 shares
Mhm.
that he just keeps. is just his, retirement fund. But every
Hmm.
week, all he does is trade options on AMD. That's it. So his game plan is AMD. That's it. So there's a lot of rabbit holes you can go down, but he's got one that works and he sticks with it.
Yeah. 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 You
Which
have
is
to
funny
keep
because he thinks he's the
balanced.
greatest trader in the world, and not all the guys are AMD.
uh, he sells the calls when it's high and it sells the puts when it's low.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I know someone like that too. Good for him.
That's all he does.
Yeah. Okay, brother. Any other questions you have? Anything that you're super struggling with? Anything that's bugging you and something that comes back?
I think I don't have many more questions, guys. I asked you almost all
Okay.
my my problems. So I just wanted to say thank you to both. Thank you very much, Afghan, for making this call, and thank you, Diman, for your advices also.
All right, I got a
And
challenge for you this next week. You ready?
okay,
Again, I don't know your plan, whatever it is that you're doing, but try not to
hmm
focus on the P&L.
okay,
If you're
yeah,
up,
don't worry.
if you do decide that you need to walk away, have it
Yeah,
be that you need to walk away because of something else besides the P&L. I'm emotional. I'm making bad decisions. I don't see a play I want to take. I don't want to overtrade. So don't focus on your P&L and make your decisions of walking away from the computer or staying at the computer
hmm
strictly based off of your performance of
yes,
doing
very good.
well on making good decisions, not making money.
Thank
Beautiful,
you for that.
beautiful summary. That's really good. Hey, just another quick thing. I totally
Uh-huh.
forgot about the over trading. Are you on a 1 minute time frame?
Yes, I am.
That could be one of the reasons as well. Uh,
Yes, I am.
Another thing that you may want to try. Wait, you hold for an hour? Are you sure you know your statistics? Like you hold your average hold is for an hour?
It depends on the trade because maybe only if I'm short and I enter at a very very good price and the stock tends to go down, I will hold for longer.
Okay. Make sure you go to your statistics trader view and find your statistics. But if you are a longer time holder, try experimenting with 3 minutes, 5 minutes. That will, I think, will help you as well
Yes.
with so like get rid of 1 minute in my opinion. If you are, but if you're a quick guy that's in and out like a minute or two, that's a different story.
No, I'm always in 1 minute charts.
Yeah. Okay, brother. Thank you very much, by the way, for coming on voice and asking questions, and appreciate you uh, asking these things because I know even though we're here to help, it's a bit awkward, weird. You're like you put yourself out there, you ask
Yeah.
these questions, and know that the benefit's gonna come out of this. I bet there's a lot of other people that probably have the same question as you, so they may benefit them. And know that everybody been your shoes. Every person has taken hurdles. We've
Yeah,
all
guys.
blown up accounts.
Thank you for this.
Hey,
I think
with
there
you
are many.
saying that, let me
Uh-huh.
say one more thing.
Yes.
The reason that I am successful in life
hmm
and in trading,
hmm
the number one reason is exactly what Masood just said. It's called growth mindset. I don't care if I look stupid by asking questions. I don't
hmm
care what anyone else thinks of me. I put myself out there. By you doing this, it shows that you have a growth mindset. So you're on the right path, my friend. You're going to be successful. Continue to do the things that you're doing, and you will be successful. You will get to where you want to go.
Thank you for encouraging me. I will do it. I'm working a lot and I will keep working more.
If D-Man wasn't a rich guy, I would tell him to become a motivator. But I know this guy makes good money, so thank you for that, D-Man. It was beautiful. I felt inspired by that as well. So
Yeah, guys, thank you for being out there helping the newbies.
yeah, no worries, brother. We've all been newbies as well. We still have to grow. So thank you for jumping on the ball call. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you, D-Man, and
Pleasure, brother.
have a wonderful day, guys. Take care.
Thank you. violence.